Hey, Randy Hunter here from BeginningSax.com. Now, in this Jazz Sax Quick Licks and Tips video, I'm going to show you a pattern for learning the flat nine. Now, you may not be really familiar with the flat nine. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. But the flat nine is a tone that's often used on dominant chords, and it can be used on dominant chords whether there's a flat nine in the chord or not, depending on how you use it. The flat nine works best on chords that don't have a flat nine in them as a kind of a guide tone function. It has good pull, downward pull that helps your lines move forward. Now, in case you're not familiar with the term flat nine or even nine as far as chord extensions are concerned, the ninth, and you may have practiced your scales up to the nine at times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Well, the 9 is really the same as the second. So on a dominant chord, let's keep in mind, remember you've got a lowered 7, you've got a minor 7 on a dominant chord. So if we played a line, say, using the third, the second, the root to the 7, it would sound like this. I'm using a D scale as an example. So I'm going to play F sharp, E, D, C. Now, the E we've determined is the second, the 9, same difference. So we're going to flat that note and we're going to put it in place of the E natural. We'll have F sharp, E flat, D, C. Now, if I follow the line on through, like if this were a D7 chord and maybe a G major 2-5-1 A minor, D7, G major, F sharp, E flat, D, C, it would go right into the third of the major chord, the B. So we end up with a line, if we incorporate this in a 2-5-1, a very common sound is the minor chord first, 1, 3, 5, 7, followed by the 3. Write down the dominant scale using the flat 9. 1, 3, 5, 7, 3, flat 9, 1, 7 to the third of the major chord. Listen to it one more time. Now, in this video, we're not really going to work at creating complete 2-5-1s. I just want to show you a pattern for practicing that particular dominant line, that particular flat 9 dominant line. And maybe I should mention that flat 9s are most appropriately used on dominant chords. I mean, there's a way to use any tone in the chromatic scale on any chord, but it's all about the structure and organization that you put to it. So we're really concentrating on putting a flat 9 structure into a dominant chord so we can use this line, again, whether or not the dominant chord has a flat 9. So our pattern will take us around the circle of force. Now, if you think about it, D7, let's think of that as our first chord in the circle of force. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. You can start anywhere you want to. But D7, the next chord would be G7. Well, just like in a 2-5-1, D7 would resolve to G major. Well, we're just going to continue this chain of dominance around the keys so that we can practice this pattern all the way around the keys. So if I play the pattern in D, F sharp, E flat, D, C, it'll drop me on B. There I'm on B. That's the first note in our next chord in the cycle of dominance, or in the circle of force, G7. So I'll follow the pattern through on G7, B to the flat 9, which is, I'll go ahead and tell you it's A flat. I want you to really figure these out on your own though, so we're not going to go all the way through the circle of force. B, A flat, G, F, and the next note down would be an E, which is the third of the C chord. Now, I found myself in a dilemma when I get here, because if I keep going down, I'm going to run out of room. I mean, I'm going to fall off the bottom of the horn there. It's a deep abyss down there. I don't want to fall too far. So when I hit the E, the third of the C7 chord, I'm going to octave displace my line, which means the next note, rather than being downward, I'm going to displace it an octave and make it higher. So the flat 9 on the C chord is D flat. So I'm going to start on E. D flat up higher, D flat, C, B flat, and that'll drop me down to the A on the F chord. Well, I could go downward, but maybe I want to octave displace again and get it and start working my way back up. So I'm on A. I'll octave displace to the high flat 9 on the F7 chord, the G flat, and that would drop me on down to the D on the B flat 7 chord. Now, I can continue this pattern all the way around the circle of fourths, and it'll work me right back around to where I started. In fact, if I do that, it sounds sort of like this. And I'm home. I just went through all 12 keys. Now you can tell I've played that pattern a number of times. In fact, it's really kind of a central component to many of my 2-5-1s that I play. So if you this would be a great pattern for you to practice. And now as you practice it, be careful not to let it just turn into a finger exercise. I've had students that have come in and played this pattern, and I ask them, and then I'll say, okay, can you play it for me just on E flat 7? And they go, oh no, what the heck? I've just played the pattern. I've worked the pattern around, but I didn't know where I was at. So my suggestion as you play this, maybe work it slowly and make sure you're taking the time to think of what particular dominant chord you're practicing at that moment. So make sure you know where you're at chord-wise as you do the finger exercise working through the pattern. That'll make it much easier to apply it when you start working to create 2-5-1s that include this line. So if you want to learn more about 2-5-1s that include flat 9s, then I've got a video lesson called the flat 9. Now it's part of a two lesson series guiding the harmony and the flat 9, and again that's available on the Jazz Improv Lessons page of beginningsax.com, along with many other lessons. So I hope you'll stop by there. Okay, have fun practicing this pattern.